our deal was such that we didn't need to stay on. So most of us didn't stay on. I stayed on to make sure our people were okay for a year. But the culture part that you asked me about, I'm afraid there's no happy sort of ending to that in that sense. It is difficult. A merger, so the Azensio formation, it was formed with 4 acquisitions. Apex Partners acquired 3i Infotech's product arm, another company in which did Islamic banking out of Lebanon, another company which did insurance in the Middle East, and so on. But and us, and getting 4 cultures together, and they were 2,000 odd people, we were 200 or 220, and getting those cultures together, I think it's a difficult job. I don't think many companies have succeeded in doing that. And I guess, that might have been, and I don't know, but that might have been one of the reasons why then Azensio sold my company, Candela. Once again, now it's just last week got acquired by Sapiens. But I don't know if culture was the only reason. I don't know at all. I can't claim to read their minds. But when I was there, I could see that there was a culture mismatch.
So this was a new acquisition very recently happening by Sapiens.
Yes, just last week or week before last.
Very interesting.
But some people have congratulated us because they said, which company can get bought and sold twice? That means these many people see value in what you built. That's quite fulfilling for us.
Absolutely. It is a proud moment and it's a soul satisfactory moment for what you have built.
Yes.
I can absolutely resonate to what you're trying to say. After leading integration at Azensio, what did you realize about scaling with a larger company versus scaling it as an independent startup?
I think there are, I wasn't heading integration, but I was very much a part of the leadership which was focused on integration. I focused on integrating the products because all the products were different. So I took on the product piece. But I think as being part of senior leadership, I think the big challenges were the cultures, exactly what I told you just now before this. Anything else we could have achieved. We could have merged the products. That's just a matter of tech and therefore a matter of time. And anything can be done with tech. We know that. It's not rocket science. But what is rocket science is definitely culture. So for example, the pay scales we had and the pay scales some other companies had, because they were much larger, and the number of interns they had, etc., made the average very different. We believed in a model which was be close to the client. So quite a few, instead of having many, it wasn't the classic offshore model and save costs. It was be in with the client at the client places very often so that we could understand, hear them, and make our product better. Whereas, most other large companies have quite a few, they have the largest presence in India. And so that culture of, being outward bound versus inward bound, that played a big role. The way in which we look at performance, the way we look at increments, the way we look at ranks. I mean, that started mattering a lot in a large company, whereas it didn't matter in 200, 300 people. It's okay what rank you give, and that didn't matter. Selling methods, coding styles, the way in which you have documentation methods or lack of documentation, quite a bit the way you take in change requests and the way you manage the whole process, processes itself, the way they are. I think all of it is very different, and bringing 4 of them together is never an easy bit. So, we always would like to help wherever we are needed, even as ex-co-founders. But we do empathize a lot with the leadership whenever because I've seen it from close. I was there for a year. A very difficult task.
3 startups, Romil, till date?
Yes.
So, AWPL, second one was...
So the first was that thing that we talked about from the college.
Yeah.
And that was a software development company, and that used to build products and keep the IP of the products to itself.
Okay, pure
So-
services.
but more product development, but with a model which kept the IP to itself.
Okay,
So
okay, sorry. So it is the pure product company then.
yes,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
we didn't have the product ideas. We didn't sell them.
Correct.
We would we would be asked to build products, but we would retain the IP.
Something like a product engineering.
Yeah, but we retained the IP. That was a key
Wow.
difference.
Okay.
And so when we formed AWPL, their products were also, that was in parallel, by the way. Their products were also built by this company, and then later on that was acquired. This was acquired by AWPL. So that was a big, that was one. The second was Radium, and that didn't work very well. That was also with a classmate, and very many times he and I, we met and thought of what went wrong and what we learned from it, and lots of learnings and lessons from even failures. But yeah, that didn't. So we had one failure, two successes.
Candela was a huge success.
Candela was by far the largest success, and we. It was very fulfilling. It was among the most fulfilling ones.